Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode on English One to One. My name is Lily, and today I'm gonna be talking about how to learn English faster. Well, this podcast is gonna be based on what I have observed are some of the characteristics of some of my most successful students. How are they going through the process of learning the language? How did they become fluent, or how did they acquire the language faster than other students that I have seen? Also, it's based on my own experience of learning the language, not only English, but also in this case, now that I'm going through the process of learning Russian. So once again, this is the inside as a learner and also as a teacher. I'm gonna mention four different things or four tips on how to learn English faster. The first one, and well, probably the most important one, is going to be exposure to the language. And regardless of the language that you are studying, it could be English or any other one, exposing yourself to the language is going to be one of the factors that it will make a huge difference on how fast you learn this language. For example, nowadays we can say that we are just one click away from learning a language. Not only a language, but several things. Every time we want to know or find out information about something, what we do normally is we search on YouTube, we search online, we search on different websites that can help us to get information regarding a certain topic. And languages is not any different. Now, online, we can find, once again, an infinite amount of websites that can help us. Among the ones that I can suggest that I have noticed that people use a lot could be Lyrics Training is one of the websites that I use for my own students as well, and I do recommend them using them. A lot of them started using them and they like it, especially for the ones who like listening to music in English. Another one is LingoPie. I haven't tried this one myself. However, I have seen the advertisement for this website, and I think it's a lot useful because you can access different movies, TV series, or cartoons, and you can actually see the subtitles. You can find out the meaning of the words, and you can create flashcards from them. So different ways that can help you to watch a movie or a TV series, and at the same time learn and kind of remember or refresh all of these words. YouTube, of course, is going to be is free access, and you can enter this website and just every information that you like, whatever topic you like. I don't know, if you like sports, try watching the sports in English. Maybe, I don't know, some news, or for example, if you want to watch the news, you can watch the BBC. If you like beauty routines, etc., watch some YouTube bloggers that give you some of these routines in English. So anything you like, just try to use English for that, right? Now, another way, of course, is using different kind of apps. There are many of them. One that I use right now, it's Duolingo. I know it's the most popular one. I so far for me it's useful, of course, especially for vocabulary. You are not gonna, like, at least that's my perspective, you're not gonna be fluent in a language just by using Duolingo, but it is helpful to support your language learning. And well, there are so many others, you name it. I don't know if you know some others, please feel free to share as well. The second way, or the second tip on how to learn English faster, will be don't be afraid of looking like a fool. I have mentioned this before, I think, when I talk about accents. But once again, this, I think, is one of the key to succeed in any language. If you worry too much about sounding perfect, then you're never going to start speaking the language. Successful students usually nail every opportunity they have to practice the language, which means if they have a chance to talk to a native speaker or to another language learner, they will not be afraid of looking like a fool because they will try by all means to communicate, and that is what is important. And through this process is when you are going to gain fluency. A lot of times students think that learning, I don't know, grammar structures or learning, the language in is what is gonna take them to speak fluently, but it's not. It's actually speaking, losing that fear, what is going to get you through the first step, which for me is fluency. It doesn't matter if you don't have maybe yet enough vocabulary or your grammar structures are not accurate enough. But if you do speak, if you are not afraid of making mistakes, then little by little, you're just gonna start putting your ideas in order. And of course, this is going to be very useful and speed or boost the process of learning. I'm gonna share actually one of my personal experiences because I give this tip because I see that successful students once again do this, but I am actually quite of a shy student for any language. As a matter of fact, when I was learning Chinese, I remember I was very shy of course, to make a mistake, and a lot of times I would prefer just to listen and I will not always answer. But it happened once when I was teaching in China, that it was the end of the school year, and there was an event for all of the teachers, Chinese teachers and English teachers. Of course, the Chinese teachers, they do not speak English really, and English teachers, some of them could speak a little Chinese. And I was one of those who I was supposed to be able, but I was just like, again, I was afraid. I was nervous a little bit, but well, and during this event, they shared with us some wine. And the funny thing is that after a couple of glasses of wine, I started speaking Chinese kind of fluently. Like, even my friends around were surprised. I was surprised myself that I could do it. And it's not like alcohol switched something in my brain. What happens is that for this particular case, it made me lose my inhibitions. Inhibitions. It made me lose my inhibitions, which means I passed this mental barrier of being afraid of looking like a fool, and then I just start speaking. It, like, the information was really there. I was always just afraid of looking like a fool. All right. So, but of course, it's not necessary that you have to drink to start speaking a language. My point here is that most of the time, it's ourselves holding ourselves back to not speak, to not continue a conversation, and so on. And the third thing, or the third fact that can help you to learn English faster, is to simply ask questions. And of course, during the lessons, I can have some students who are like maybe shy and they do not say or do not mention when they don't know something or they didn't understand. I try my best to encourage them to let me know if something wasn't clear, right? But through speaking, because I try to make them speak a lot, and then is when I need to find out which are their mistakes or what they didn't understand. But my best students, or once again, the most successful students, are those who ask questions because they are curious all the time. They come, they didn't get something, and they're not afraid of telling you, I didn't understand. So that is maybe quite similar to the previous one. Like, do not be afraid, but in this case, of saying that you didn't understand, because this is the reason what your teacher is there for, is actually to help you. But what if you don't have a teacher? What if you're just watching a TV series and there is like some grammar construction or some word that you don't know? again, wonder why is this sentence like this? Why is this, does this word have this meaning in this context and a different meaning in a different context? Go Google it, find it yourself. Just stay curious, and that is going to help you once again to boost your language skills. The last but not least, it's gonna be patient. I know this might sound kind of cliche, but I think it's one of the most important things when learning any language. You have to be patient, because learners who consciously learn a second language know that language learning is a process. It's not something that you learn from one day to another. It's not something that you learn in 10, 15 days, 1 month, or 3. According to the information that you will find online, it says that for a person to communicate or interact simply, it needs between 180 hours to 200 hours to have this level of interacting simply. And to become fluent, you need between 1,000 to 1,200 hours to be fluent. But once again, it all, those numbers is not going to make any difference if you don't expose yourself to the language, if you are all the time afraid of looking like a fool, if you never wonder and you're never curious and ask questions, and if you're not patient. Because a lot of people drop after 1 or 2 months because they're like, oh no, English is not for me. I haven't made any progress. A lot of times, guys, what happens is that you don't realize it yourself. I remember I had one student for a while. I think she was studying for like 9 months, more or less. And she always was afraid of speaking, especially. But suddenly she said that one day she was working, and while she was working, the TV was on, and there was a TV series with subtitles in Spanish, but the dialogues were in English. And then she realized that she could understand a lot of the words that were being said on this TV series. And then somehow she was very happy. She came to the lesson and she said, I didn't know I could actually understand more than I knew I could. And I said, it's because maybe you never gave yourself the chance to prove that. And this is what happens a lot of times. You think that you're not making any progress, but progress is made little by little, and you need to recognize all of these steps and celebrate every little success, because every little success is going to take you to where you want to get. And for example, I remember also not long ago, I've been trying to watch some movies in Russian without any subtitle. I thought to myself, that's okay. I just need to listen to it. Maybe I will get to understand something. Needless to say, of course, I think I understood like 5% of it because I couldn't read anything. I just listened, and I was like, wow, it's really difficult. But after the first, second, third, fourth, like, I don't know, after 6 movies or so, I noticed that I moved from 5% to 6%. So that 1% made me really happy. Being able to understand a 6% of the movie, it actually made a big difference for me. So, well, if we again can see those little things and we are not able to celebrate our little steps, of course, it's very easy to lose motivation. And regardless of motivation, we know that motivation can go up and down even for things that we like. People who study English do not necessarily like it. I include myself. When I studied English, I didn't like English at all. The only thing that kept me going was to persevere. That's it, because of course motivation can change even every day depending on your mood. But if you really want to get a result, you need to persevere regardless of how high or low your motivation is. Actually, there was a TV series on Netflix that I watched last year, and this quote got stuck in my head, I think, for life. And it said, the difference between failure and success is perseverance. And I was like, wow, that's deep. And it did stay in my head. And this is one of the reasons I try to push myself, and that's another characteristic again that I see in my successful students, that they keep on going, like they have a purpose and they will do it because they have, again, their motivation change, but they persevere all the time. And I want to like give a special shout out to one of my students. He has been on my speaking club for almost a year. He started the course because he was unsure of his speaking skills. He said that he learned English and like he reached the advanced level, but every time he needed to interact with an English speaker, he was nervous. He could understand what they were saying, but he was struggling to answer back. So this is the reason why he came to the speaking club. But what is more interesting about him is that he is a father. He's a manager. He works in the mine. He has a group of 500 people that he needs to manage, and he studies English as well, of course, and he's a husband, right? Why is this interesting for me? Because a lot of times I hear from my students, oh, I have a lot of work, oh, I have a family, oh, I have this. I know all of these things are important. I get that, and I'm sure you gotta give more importance to that, probably. But in his case, he gave enough importance to his family, to his daughter, to his wife, to his job, which is not an easy job, as he has an important position, or a position where he needs to manage people, a lot of people. But he persevered. He knew that he needed to improve his speaking skills if he wants to step up in his job. So during the period of a year, he has attended 98% of the lessons, and that is high, really, really high, because a lot of times students, they postpone the lessons. They are like, oh no, today I can't, tomorrow I can't. Of course, those changes can happen, but I was very glad, and I was happily surprised that he could actually manage his time. And he told me that all the time he was making his schedule, and he was like, trying to move his meetings in a way that it will never interfere his English lessons. As I said, I think there was like, I can count with one hand, I don't know, 2 or 3 times that he was absent because something like really like was out of his hands. And he persevered, and in a period of a year, he has made such a great progress. And he's decided that he would just continue because, again, English, it's a process, right, in which we learn for life, pretty much. It's not like we ever stop learning. So if you want for the language, if you want it for it not to get rusty, so you gotta keep on practicing. And if you are here like in Peru and you have nowhere to practice, of course joining, I'm not saying join mine, but if you want, why not? Joining a speaking club or going to places where you could meet native speakers or language learners, it's a very good and excellent way to boost your speaking skills. Okay, so guys, that is it. I share with you all these tips for you to improve the language faster. I know a lot of you come and say, yeah, I really need to learn it, please help me. But guys, most of it really, it's up to you. It depends on you. How much time are you willing to give, and how perseverant you can be to reach your goals. All right, so perfect. Once again, thank you very much for coming all the way here together with me, and I will see you the next time. Bye bye.